Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hometown Sports Huddle. I'm Austin Hicks. Joining me is Mitch Carr. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a really good show for you guys today. We're going to talk about some headlines, which is going to be the official opening day of MLB baseball, NASCAR, and March Madness. And later on in the show, our sports director, Dave Walls, had an interview with one of those NASCAR racers, John Hunter, Nemechek, so you guys can stick around for that one as well. So let's get straight into these headlines. First off, Mitch, opening day started today. How excited are you to see some baseball?
I love baseball. It is America's favorite pastime, and the reason we call it a pastime is because it is a great way to pass the time. My wife is like, it's slow, it's boring. I'm like, that's the idea. We are passing the time. We are watching one pitch every 30 seconds or so, which is faster than it used to be. And you know what? It's wonderful, and it's a great way. It's a great thing to have on in the background, to pay attention when there's a home run, and then to tune it out. You said something on TV just a few minutes ago, my Pittsburgh Pirates. You are from Chesterfield, Virginia, and you are a Steelers and Pirates fan. How does this happen?
Yeah, so blame my uncle for all this. So he is a diehard Steelers fan. So he kind of got me on the Steelers. Like growing up, I had two NFL teams. It was the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't know why I picked the Titans. I could not tell you that. Then my oldest brother was like, "You cannot have two favorite teams." And I was like,
Nope.
You're right.
Especially not in the same conference.
Exactly. So that wouldn't work. So I was like, you know what? Which team do I like more? And I was like, I do like the Steelers way more. So I was like, you know what? That was my official team. Where the Pirates came from, I'm not a huge baseball guy, or at least I wasn't when I decided to pick the Pirates to be my team. But once I decided to get into it, I was like, you know what? I don't have a connection with any other sports team. Obviously, I could pick the Nationals. But what fun would that be? I was like, you know what? Let me stick with everything Pittsburgh. So it's a Penguins fan, Pirates fan, and Steelers fan. That's like, I got the trifecta of Pittsburgh fan.
So in a full answer to your question, how am I feeling about opening day? I'm disappointed the Braves don't play today. I've been a Braves fan since I can remember, and it's because the AAA team in Richmond was the Richmond Braves up until 2009, I think.
I remember that.
And the Nats didn't come around until 2005. So I was 18 years old before Washington had baseball. And so I've always been a big-time Braves fan, and they don't start the season until tomorrow. They're going to host Kansas City, so I'm still waiting for my team to play. And I know I mentioned I love baseball and how slow it is. It's a lot more boring when it's not your team. But, hey, speaking of your team, Paul Skeens, the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young winner, he got destroyed today.
Yeah,
the Mets put up 5 runs on him in the first inning.
Yes, and this is the first time in history that the previous Cy Young winner was pulled before the end of the first inning. So
yeah, he had some bad defensive plays behind him, but at the same time, the way he throws the ball, you're shocked anyone can put it in play.
I just couldn't imagine somebody that's able to throw a 100, 101 consistently. Just imagine you're in the batter's box and somebody throws an apple-sized object at you at 100 miles an hour and you try to hit that.
You got to be guessing. I think hitting a baseball is probably the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports. And I think you just have to guess when it's going to go 100 and somewhere between 99 and 105. You're just like, I'm going to stick the bat out here and see what happens.
That's what I always feel. There is a viral video from spring training where I think it was another Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher threw 102 at a White Sox prospect, and you could just look at his face. He kind of stepped back and he said, "What the heck?
What was that?"
He's like, "What was that?" And he's just like, "Wow." And that's a professional at seeing stuff at that kind of level. For me, I played baseball for a little bit, never got a chance to make it to high school, but I never got a hit in baseball, and these were kids that were maybe not even throwing.
Never, not once.
No, I was
okay.
a pro. I
think you made the right decision to keep playing football.
I did, but I feel like if I really stuck with it, I maybe would have. Like maybe that's just my my athlete's confidence kicking in. But I was a pro at. You're not going to believe this. I did not get a hit the entire season, but I led my team in runs because I mastered the art of kind of moving in front of the pitch, so I just get hit. Yeah, so I would just get to first base, and then I would steal second.
If you can't hit the ball, let the ball hit you.
Exactly. So I would steal second, steal third, and then one of the other guys on my team that actually knew how to hit would just hit, and I would just make it home. So
all right,
if
shout out to that guy.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to them. So even though I wasn't the best hitter, I was a beast out there at stealing bases. I think I was very below average when it came to fielding. But you know what? I tried my best. So, and it all worked out in the end. Did you play baseball, Mitch?
You know what? I played baseball starting from 9 to like 13, 9 to 12, somewhere in there. I played Little League, and it was a dumb decision. I was a good soccer player, and I should have stuck with soccer. But I remember telling myself, well, I'm an American boy, and American boys should play baseball. So I went and played baseball, and as a 9-year-old, I could throw the ball fast enough that nobody could hit it. And it's like, oh, this guy's good at baseball. He's a good pitcher. Meanwhile, I couldn't hit at all. And as I got older and kids were able to hit my fastball, and I still couldn't hit myself, guess what? I quit baseball. I went back to soccer for 1 year. I just missed so much development in that 4-year span. It wasn't worth going back to it. So, yes, I played baseball. No, it wasn't good. Unlike football or basketball, I didn't have a chance to play anything like that in high school. So yeah, disappointment. I'm a disappointing athlete to everyone in my family.
See, you have the quarterback gene in you. You played some baseball, so I think overall, I think you're a well-rounded athlete. You did more than me. All I did was play football. So
yeah, well, you went to college for it.
I
want to talk more about some opening day action. Jacob Misiorowski, the ace and the young pitcher for Milwaukee, 11 strikeouts today. The Brewers beat the White Sox 14-2. The White Sox got a leadoff home run and then just didn't score for most of the rest of the game. They're going to be awful again. So we're on worst team in the history of baseball watch again with the White Sox. We have the Nats beating the Cubs 10-4 in Wrigley. So disappointment. I've been in Wrigley on a nice windy March day, and that's disappointment because you're going out there and you're bundling up and you're hoping to watch the Cubbies get a win, and they don't get a win. The Orioles 2-1 over the Twins. Nice pitching performance there. Right now in action, the Red Sox are taking it to the Reds. It's 3-0. We have the Angels and Astros in NL West action. Tigers 8-2 over the Padres. You know Tarek Skubal was pitching today, and he must have had it going because that Padres lineup is good. It looks like Skubal is better.
Exactly. Seeing the Reds score kind of put some joy in my heart because my inner Steeler fan is coming out because I don't like anything Cincinnati. I don't like the Reds. I don't like the Bengals. I don't like anything associated with Cincinnati. So and I have a bunch of friends that are also Cincinnati fans because I lived in Kentucky for a long time. So everybody in Kentucky is.
You lived on the other side of Kentucky.
Yes. So I lived in.
Those people should be like They're closer to D.C. than they are to Cincinnati.
You would be surprised. They're all diehard Bengals fans, Reds fans.
Heck, they're closer to Pittsburgh than they are to Cincinnati.
And they definitely are. And this is going to surprise you. A lot of them are Braves fans.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I was when I got out there.
Well, look, you have to understand when we were growing up, not when you were growing up, because you and I are 10. You and I are 15 years apart. It may not seem like it, but we are.
All right.
You're like 25. I'm going to be 40 later this year. And when we were growing up, you didn't just have streaming online anything you wanted. There was no online in the early 90s. America Online came around in like 97. So we had what was called the Superstation, TBS. And TBS was one of the very few TV stations that you could get all over the country. And so especially in the South, you had the Braves. Now, WGN was another superstation, so you could get the Cubs from coast to coast. So all over the country, you have random pockets of Braves fans, especially in the South, and Cubs fans, especially in the Midwest, because you could see those teams any game, every game. I remember being like an 8-year-old, being home during the summer because school was out, being bored. It was too hot to go outside, and I'd be like just praying for a Braves day game. And when it would come on, it'd like save the rest of my day. So yeah, big Braves fan. That's why I'm a Braves fan, and that's also why you have a lot of Braves fans in random places like Kentucky and Tennessee and Alabama. Pretty much the entire southeastern part of the country is just claimed by the Braves. They even call it Braves country.
You know what? That makes sense. I appreciate you for the history lesson. It's like
I'm full of random history facts.
And I love it. I was so lost when I was driving around. I'm seeing a bunch of Atlanta stuff. I'm like, why Atlanta? This is Kentucky. This is cold country. That's not what I was expecting. And then now I know. So I guess that was the only team that they can watch. Me growing up, I never really watched baseball on TV. I think baseball is so much better when you watch it in person. There's something about going to a ballpark. I remember when I was in middle school.
It's a completely different experience.
A completely different experience. I remember when I was in middle school, we had in school, you had to read, and then you had to take a test, and you get points. At the end of the school year, whoever, I think it was the top 50 students in the school, if you were in the top 50, you would get to go to a Flying Squirrels game for free during school.
So funny. So when you were in elementary school, the Braves were already gone.
Yep. I do remember. I
graduated high school in 2005, and the Braves were still there. You're in elementary school, and the Braves are gone.
I do remember when the Braves left because that was something that nobody in my family is a big baseball person, but I remember my mom talking about that. She's like, "Oh, they were here forever."
Well, it kind of says something about your town when you have a AAA team versus a AA team versus no team at all. Here in Roanoke and in Lynchburg, we've got the Ridge Yaks now, and we've got the Hill City Howlers. Those are both two brand new names, so bear with me as I try not to call them the Red Sox and the Hillcats. But they're single A teams, and it's a size thing. So Richmond downgrading and not having a team for a year, and then downgrading from AAA to AA, it just it was like a stain on the town if you're a sports fan of any kind, even if you're not going to the baseball games.
Yeah, and it was just so much fun just being able to go and watch the Flying Squirrels. I still think that's just a fire name. I love mascots.
It is.
Where it's fun, it's creative. It's a flying squirrel, and it's just like a really buff, literal flying squirrel.
Super squirrel.
Yeah,
Nutsy.
super squirrel that's just running around. I just remember just getting off the bus and just thinking, you know what, baseball isn't too bad. Because I used to think it was boring, but then I watched the game in person. I was like, you know what, this is a pretty cool sport.
Well,
to
so
watch.
the Richmond Braves got there in 1985, and they left because the city wouldn't build them a new stadium. And now the city has finally built a new stadium for the Flying Squirrels, and it's going to open up, I think, this year.
I think so.
Is CarMax Park opening up this year?
I think so.
Anyway, we've gone pretty far afield of opening day for baseball. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, no, we can talk baseball all day, but we're going to switch to March Madness because it's March, and, of course, we're going to talk about March
there's madness.
And there is definitely madness. Today we have 4 games tonight. The one I'm really looking forward to is Arkansas versus Arizona.
Absolutely. So let me tell you about the schedule tonight. On CBS right here on WDBJ7, you're going to have Texas and Purdue. And then on TBS, after that, you're going to have Iowa and Nebraska. Then the marquee game that you're talking about, right here on WDBJ7, you've got Arkansas versus Arizona. And then the nightcap 10 o'clock tip, if it's on time on TBS, is going to be Houston and Illinois. But, yeah, that Arkansas-Arizona game is the one that I had circled as well.
Yeah, it's going to be – I think this is Coach Cal is his return to the Sweet 16. I think Arkansas, they made it last year. This roster is stacked head to toe. They have a very experienced head coach. But they're also going against an Arizona team that is built like I think it's probably the second or third best team in this entire tournament. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited to see it. And
Well, you've got a bunch of NBA prospects playing against each other. You've got Braden Burries from Arizona, and then you got Darius Acuff for Arkansas. So these are two guards that are going to be probably guarding each other. They're going to be playing offense against one another, and it's just going to be I think you might see like the guy that outplays the other guy might end up having a higher draft pick when they draft in June. And that's something to look out for. Exactly.
Darius Acuff is a projected top 3 pick. If he continues to go along this path, he can definitely move up into that number 1 spot. He is Coach Cal. There's only been 3 players in college basketball history that have won the Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year, at least SEC Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year. Coach Cal has coached 2 of them. The first one was Anthony Davis. So he's in pretty.
He won a national championship.
Exactly. So he's in pretty elite company. So in order for him to solidify that number 1 overall pick, because I think it's pretty. This is a very stacked class this year. This is something that he's going to have to show out in the biggest moments because there's nothing's really bigger than the than going into a Sweet 16 matchup against another elite program, against another elite guard to kind of separate yourself from everybody else.
Well, BYU, AJ DeBonsa, he's gone. Darren Peterson, Kansas, he's gone. Those might be your number 1 and number 2. We'll see what happens come draft time, but those are 2 guys that you're going to need to watch, and you can't watch them. So you're going to have to sit down and watch Arkansas and Arizona tonight. Tomorrow night is going to be fun as well. I'm more excited, honestly, for tonight. But the other guy that's going to go in the top 3 is Carlos Boozer's son. And so you've got St. John's and Duke, and they're going to play right here on WDBJ7 at 7 o'clock. That's followed by Alabama and Michigan, which is probably the best game of tomorrow. And that's going to be at 7:35, and that's going to be on TBS. And then right here again on WDBJ7, you'll have Michigan State and UConn tipping at around 9:45, followed by Tennessee and Iowa State tipping around 10:10 over on TBS. And so out of all those 4 games that are happening tomorrow, I'm really looking forward to Alabama and Michigan. I think that's another situation where you've got Philon, who's a point guard playing for Alabama, and he's going to be probably a lottery pick. And then you've got what's the guy's? It's Yaxel Axel Langbro. I'm sorry, the big man from Michigan. He's multi-talented, and he's got a very like Belgian name that I can't pronounce.
There's also a guy from Michigan State that I feel like you would have been should be a really big fan of, Cohen Carr.
Yeah, cousin. Yeah, well, you can take one look at him and realize we're not really related. But anybody with the last name Carr, I call cousin.
Yeah, exactly, and he's just a little bit more athletic. I love watching him play because I would say he has that Zion Williamson because he's not like a super duper tall guy. He's still like 6'7", which is a relatively tall person in basket in general. But can that guy jump? Just is watching.
Well, I want to say he like leads the nation in alley-oop dunks.
Yes, and when you watch him play, it makes sense because it seems like all of his points that he gets are off of ollies or just dunks in the paint, or he's just sending somebody's shot into the upper deck. It's insane watching just. Whenever you're watching these Division I athletes, they are all athletic. There's not anybody especially now in the tournament. There's not somebody out there that's just an unathletic dude. He's the 1% of the 1%. I can see him if he goes to the combine, jumps a 44-inch vertical jump, and just really just test out the charts. It's amazing to watch just an athletic specimen just do this stuff on the court.
Well, let me tell you, that's going to be like an all-time unlikability meter game because Dan Hurley is one of the least likable people that I've ever seen in college basketball. I say that, number one, because he eliminated Miami in the Final Four in 2023, and I was at that game, and I was very disappointed. Ooh. And number two, because he's just a jerk to everybody at all times. And then you've got Fears, the point guard from Michigan State, who I think not once, not twice, but maybe 3 times has tried to kick a fellow player in the nether regions. He just happens when he gets trapped, he turns around and he sticks his leg up right between somebody else's legs. And where does that leg end up? I think we're all understanding what I'm saying here without me having to say it. He's unlikable and Dan Hurley's unlikable, and those two teams play each other. And I just don't know if I'm going to pay attention to that game because I'm going to be rooting against both teams.
You know, and it's one of those games where you just wish it's like, can both of you guys just go home? You know? And then one of these other teams is like, you know what, you guys take their spot that has to lose, but who knows? I know we were going to talk about NASCAR next, but I have to get on my soapbox here real quick.
Okay.
Because this is basketball related. This isn't March Madness related. This is NBA related. Mac McClung, you guys may know who he is.
Mac McClung, yes. Gate City's finest.
Gate City's finest. I went to UVA-Wise. That's probably like 20 minutes away from Gate City. He just broke earlier this week the G League all-time scoring record, and I'm going to get on my soapbox because I don't understand why he's still in the G League. This kid just dropped 59 points in the G League, in a G League game. I feel like there's a team out there somewhere.
It's not that hard to score 59 points because nobody plays defense in the G League.
See, we say that, but these people are all professionals, and I'm just thinking there's not the Pacers who suck. They couldn't use a guy because I'm not saying he's going to score 50.
The Pacers are losing on purpose.
Exactly, but it's like, okay, you can get this guy on the court and just say, oh, okay, we can see what he looks like.
He got a run of 10-day contracts with the Lakers, and they actually signed him for half the season. But I guess he's just not well-rounded enough of a player. He can score, he's won dunk contests as a non-NBA player, as a G League player.
3 of them.
So clearly he's very impressive. You can get on your soapbox all you want, but you need players that can do a little bit of everything. And I'm not a GM. I want to see this guy succeed. He's just not. He's not an NBA caliber player, according to the people that make those decisions.
All I'm going to say is this: is that I think he's better than Bronny. So if Bronny's on,
come on now, you're gonna compare him to Nepo baby Bronny James?
Exactly. Yes, I am. If it wasn't for the fact that LeBron was in the league and LeBron is LeBron, Bronny would not be in the league.
He wouldn't have turned pro unless he knew he was getting drafted by Daddy's team.
Exactly. But I still think Mac McClung is better than him, and it's unfortunate that he grew up in Gate City in Virginia instead of where did Bronny grow up? It was like
all over the place.
Over the place.
Cleveland, Miami, L.A.
somewhere. I know
he played basketball in L.A. So
yeah, he played basketball in L.A. and his dad's also LeBron. So regardless of where he played at, he could have been playing in Akron, Ohio, at his dad's alma mater, and he still would have made it. But we talked a lot about basketball and baseball opening night, but coming up, we're going to go on a little break here just in a bit. But coming back, our sports director Dave Walls had an interview with a NASCAR driver, John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek. I'm sorry, it's just the three names that kind of get
three names. Well, he's got a dad, Joe Nemechek, who raced So having John Hunter Nemechek, it can get confusing.
Just a little bit. So, but we got a chance to talk to him before his race. That's kind of where he got his start. I think he's won 2 races. He ran the truck series in 2018, and he also
He's won multiple times here at Martinsville.
Exactly.
He owns multiple grandfather clocks.
Exactly. So this is his track. So we got an interview coming up after this break. So stick around for this one.
Unofficially, will make it by 4 points over the 20 for Carson Quapple. I think you have to appreciate how clean all that was. Like, it was really hard racing by all those guys, and awesome job. We've been critical of them. Everybody's been critical, I think, of the Xfinity Series in general. Awesome job tonight, guys. I was just going to say, applaud the whole series there in a position where there was so much up for grabs. So happy for that guy right there. He deserved it. In the spring, he definitely does. I think he's as fair as they come inside the car. Almost reminds you of an Allgaier. Doesn't not overly aggressive, but has a lot of speed. Really cool to see him get his first win, and I think fitting to come here based on what happened earlier this year.
It owed him maybe not 1 but 2, because you consider what happened in the Truck Series race here a year ago. Way to go, Taylor Gray. And here's the victory burnout presented by Krispy Kreme, because every win deserves something sweet, and so do you. Head to your local Krispy Kreme on Monday to get an original glazed dozen for only $12 with the code BURNOUT.
All right, welcome back to the Hometown Sports Huddle, everybody. I'm Dave Walls. It is race weekend at Martinsville Speedway this weekend, wrapping up, of course, with the Cookout 400 this Sunday afternoon. One driver I've interviewed in Victory Lane there before. In fact, met him there twice. It's John Hunter Nemechek, driver of the number 42 for Legacy Motor Club, and he joins us now on the Huddle. John, first of all, great to see you again. Let's start off talking about your 2026. I think in 2025, you had 8 top 10 finishes, and I feel like this team is really heading in the right direction of where Legacy Motor Club is wanting to be. You qualified well for even Daytona this year, but then, while the on-track performance has been good, I don't think the results have quite been where you would like them to be. What do you think about 2026 so far?
Yeah, I feel like we've had great potential in our race cars. Our finishes don't necessarily show that on paper, but feel like we had a really good speed weeks. Felt really comfortable in the duels, qualified better than we ever have down there. Led laps at the start of the 500 and felt like we put ourselves in a decent spot there. Gained some stage points, which we really didn't do hardly much last year. And ultimately got damaged and then wrecked on the last lap coming to the checkered flag. So that one kind of got thrown out the window. And then Atlanta, kind of same thing. Felt like we had potential in our race car and ended up getting involved in an incident and finished 19th. Coda, we finished 17th, had a solid day. I felt like probably one of the better Coda races that I've had. Car potential I felt like was better. So Phoenix was kind of the same way. I feel like potential was really good, had a really strong day going and got wrecked at the end. And it's kind of been our year. We really haven't had much to show for the speed and really the potential that we've had this year. So it kind of seems like the I guess slower start this year has definitely been a little bit more rough, but still sitting okay in points right now, outside the top 16, but within striking distance. So we just got to put runs together. We got to finish races and execute the way that we need to. It just seems like we've been involved in everyone else's mess so far this year and just can't really catch a break right now. So yeah, I feel like potential's there. We just need to get the finishes on paper that we really deserve.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this team is just primed for a breakthrough at some point. You were very close to that at Darlington last year. That was your best Cup Series performance so far today, coming in 4th down there. And short tracks have really benefited you throughout your career. I did my homework coming into this, and and some of the releases I got from your team, I saw a quote from you that I thought was really interesting, where you said, "quote that you really enjoy monitoring the tire wear." I don't think that's something a lot of drivers really say too much. Can you tell me a little bit more about what interests you and what you enjoy about monitoring tire wear during a race?
Most of it is just trying not to slip tires more than you have to, staying underneath the limit of the tire, not abusing them, and ultimately just trying to make them last longer. So definitely hard to do for sure. But at the same time, Darlington is one of those places where I feel like you kind of have to run your own race. There's going to be guys that take off really hard at the start, and
Right.
Most of the time they end up falling back towards the end of the run. There's going to be some guys that save their stuff better at the start of a run, and they're better on the back end of the run. So you kind of have to be good at both to be really good at Darlington. But you have to stay focused on just running your race and ultimately going out there and doing the best that you can. It's a long race, 400 miles. It feels really short compared to the Southern 500. I can tell you that for the spring race, but ultimately it's definitely something that is always on the back of your mind as far as tire wear and trying to manage your stuff, especially with long green flag runs. Green flag cycles are really hard here as far as getting on pit road, getting off pit road. So a lot of different things that you have to manage.
Yeah, that's really a lot of things to manage, coming from Darlington, having all that tire wear and that difficult track, and then you get to come right over to Martinsville. It's really a big 1-2 punch there. In fact, I alluded it to in the beginning, but the first time I actually met you was in Victory Lane 2018. That's when you got your first grandfather clock. It was that weird snow weekend in the spring where your race got delayed to, what was it, a Monday? I think the trucks took off at 10 a.m. I mean, what a weird, you get the win, but then you're going to eat lunch. I mean, what a weird day that was. What was that morning like? Just having to wait a little bit because of the snow, and then you've got to actually go out there on a Monday morning and get the job done. And for you, I mean, it was a dramatic race right up to the home stretch coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's definitely one of those things as a driver that you want to go race when it's supposed to be time to race. So sitting around waiting for a couple extra days to let the snow die off and coming back and racing is definitely difficult. But getting the first grandfather clock was super special to me. I had been really fast there and had been in contention and finally got it done. And now I have a couple grandfather clocks, one from the Xfinity series as well in dominating fashion. So Martinsville has definitely been a good place to me. I haven't been able to figure it out in a Cup car yet. It's probably one of my worst tracks in the Cup Series and somewhere that I've struggled trying to find the balance of the race car that I feel like I need. The Cup race is just so much different than the truck and the Xfinity cars there. So I'm looking forward to really going there as well. I feel like we've made major gains on our short track package with the off season, or through the off season, I should say, with this car at Legacy Motor Club, and definitely feel like we hit on something in the fall late in the race, and I kind of figured some things out. So hopefully we have a better starting point and can go there and qualify really good. It's really hard to come through the field there, so qualifying is super important. Track position is super important to kind of manage your day.
No doubt about it with the track position. We're talking with John Hunter Nemechek of Legacy Motor Club. He'll be racing in Sunday's Cookout 400 down at Martinsville Speedway. I know we're running a little bit tight on time because you got to get back to work here in order to get down to Martinsville for the races this weekend. But I did want to expand a little bit on what you were just talking about with the short track package at somewhere like Martinsville. I know in the beginning we all saw where it was, where people were just having trouble passing, getting anything done. And incrementally, they've been making some progress. Maybe it's not still where we'd like it to be, but certainly the dirty air is not as much of a problem, I should say, as it was. How do you see the short track package now into allowing you to do what you want to do on the track?
Yeah, it definitely was very hard to pass, in my opinion, with a big rear diffuser on it, with a lot of downforce. Dirty air was bad even at a mile and a half where you weren't going super fast. So it's definitely changed a little bit with the smaller rear diffuser. Still definitely hard to pass, but it definitely has, I guess, helped some. I think the softer tire that we've run there, and as it wears out, is definitely better for us as well on the long run. I feel like it has helped us a decent amount with guys being good on the short run, guys being good on the long run, how their cars falls off, and the track takes a lot of rubber, so you're actually able to move around a little bit. So
Yeah.
It's definitely changing. I feel like every single time that we go there.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how the warmer weather we're going to get on Sunday, probably up into the mid 60s, maybe up closer to 70, will affect the rubber conditions on the track. All right, John, as I let you go, just one little add-on question here. You got a grandfather clock from the Truck Series race, got one from the Xfinity/O'Reilly Series. I know you'd love to add a Cup Series one this weekend, but first of all, where is a man who was under 30 keep grandfather clocks? I've always wanted to know that.
Yeah, I don't have actually any grandfather clocks in my house right now. They're all at my shop and
Okay.
kind of like with all of my other trophies. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
I mean, I'd imagine that's pretty neat. I would also imagine that gets a little bit loud every hour when they all go off in the shop. John Hunter Nemechek, driver of the number 42 for Legacy Motor Club. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Hometown Sports Huddle. All right, I'm taking Friday off. However, Saturday, I'll be talking with Cup Series drivers Joey Logano, one-on-one, as well as Ryan Blaney, two Penske drivers, and they're going to give me their thoughts on the season so far, racing at Martinsville, and how important this race is, especially with the new playoff format. Look for that Saturday at 6, and of course during Saturday Sports Extra at 11 o'clock. As for the Huddle, we got more when we come right back.
Welcome back to the Hometown Sports Huddle. I'm Austin Hicks. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. We had a lot of fun, but we're going to have a lot more tomorrow. It's Virginia Tech's Pro Day, so I will be reporting from there. So we hear from all your favorite athletes. Kyron Jones will be competing as well as many others. So come back tomorrow where I will have the latest on all that. But until then, thank you so much for joining us. Y'all have a good one.